Combat in Dungeons & Dragons can be overwhelming and time-consuming. That's why today I want to share with you some tips and tricks that I know to help things run smoother and quicker. Firstly, before combat even begins, make sure you know what monsters you're using and their stat blocks. At the bare minimum, you should know movement, AC, attack, hit points, and how many. Next, you need to make sure that all of your players can see whose turn it is and what's going on, whether you use a combat tracker, a whiteboard, or just folded an index card over a DM screen. Make sure you do this to keep all of your players organized and moving forward. Now, when combat breaks out, staying organized becomes even more important, so make sure you have a way to tell each monster apart in your group, especially when it comes to tracking hit points. Whether you do it by numbers, by color, or by name, you need a way to distinguish all of them. That keeps everyone honest at the table and combat moving quickly. Now, as a DM, something you can do to speed up your turn is while your players are going, if the encounter is simple, you can roll your attacks beforehand. Now, make sure you write them down in order, and the benefit is as soon as your turn comes along, you know who hits and who misses. Something else you could do to save time is to just use the printed damage on the hit instead of rolling extra dice. Now, admittedly, if you have a lot of pieces on the field, pre-rolling your attacks can be a bit difficult, but luckily there is something we could do to keep large mobs moving. On page 250 of the DM's Guide, there's a section about handling mobs and a very useful chart. Now, how this works is instead of rolling dice, what we need to figure out is what we need to roll to hit our target first. For example, we have 7 mobs here attacking one target. They have a +5 to attack, and the armor class of their target is an 18. Then you use the chart, see what they would have to roll in order to hit, and that's how many of them would connect. So in our scenario, our 7 mobs would need a 13 to 14 to hit, so that means that they need 3 of them to score 1 hit, so that would mean our dwarf would get hit twice. Now, to keep things fair when using this rule, you can't critical hit your players, and you need to use the average damage. You're not going to be rolling for it. Now, outside of the stats and the dice and the special rules, there are some things you could do as well. Engage with your players. Don't just sit behind the DM screen or talk to just the person whose turn it is. While they're trying to figure out what they're doing, answer another question that's over here. Make sure that you're pulling in everyone at the same time, because the number one way to keep combat moving is to keep everyone engaged and having fun.